Parent Entrepreneur Power, conversation number 216.
Parent Entrepreneur Power.
Wait, what? Entrepreneur Power!
This is the podcast for parents juggling the tough choices required for success in business while putting family first. Hi, I'm Mary Catherine Johnson, and I share the ups and downs and dirty truths of profits and potty training while chatting with successful parent entrepreneurs from all walks of life. Are you powered up? Hey there, Power Parents. Mary Catherine Johnson here. Thank you so much for joining me in the podcast and becoming a Power Parent right along with me. I'm going to take a break from my Power Parents in Business series. We are on how to know when you need a new team member. And the reason is, you might hear it in my voice, I am just recovering my voice, and I don't want to spend the entire time talking like this and irritating it and coughing up a lung, which is what's going to happen shortly. So enjoy this podcast episode where I get to chat with a very new and dear friend of mine, Katie Krimitsos. And she is just a pill. She and I have gotten along very well since we first met accidentally in an Uber. So enjoy this conversation. I know I did. I've already had several more conversations with her in many of our different groups and podcasts. And so we've definitely been utilizing each other's expertise since we met way back in social media marketing world, which was only a little over a month ago. So enjoy the conversation. I so hope you do. And I am very, very blessed and very, very thankful that you are here with me and that you're listening to the Parent Entrepreneur Power podcast. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next week with how to know when you need a new team member, something I very recently learned. Enjoy. Hey there, Power Parents. Guess who? Mary Catherine Johnson. You know me. I'm KJ. And I get to introduce you to a, oh my goodness, fun gal I met in an Uber on the way to a party. So that's going to start you off on this wonderful curiosity that I hope I'm piquing with you. But welcome to the conversation, please, Katie Krimitsos. She is the CEO of Biz Women Rock. Hey there, Katie. How you doing?
What's up, Mary? Oh, yes. It was an Uber where I first officially fell in love with you.
And your husband was there too. So, hey.
He was.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. All right, guys. I got to tell you. Okay. First off, Katie, I got to tell you kind of a couple of some of the terminology we use here. We call ourselves power parents. And the reason we are power parents is because we've already gone through potty training. Hello. And potty training, business is nothing next to potty training. So if we've already done potty training, we got the power. We can do business. It's no problem. So power parents. Katie and I met when we were at Social Media Marketing World 2018 in an Uber on our way to, what was it? Social Smash? Yeah. Social Smash.
Yeah, with Mike Koenig and John Lee Dumas. Yeah, they were putting it on with a bunch of other folks like us. So it was a really good party.
Yeah, it was fun. It was nice and intimate. It was a nice end to a almost 5,000 person conference. It was much more intimate and awesome. So the drinks were incredible.
They were very good.
And I'm not a drinker. I just what is this green thing with this stuff on it? And it was like, oh, yum. That's really yummy. I think I'm only having one.
You knew right off the bat.
I knew immediately. Even though I didn't taste it, I knew, oh, no, this is way too yummy. I could drink 5 of these easy. And that would not be pretty. So, all right, Katie, we always start in the same place with everyone so that we all have the same ground rules. And that is so we can get to know you and kind of your journey. Because really, I end this podcast every time with enjoy the journey, because that's really what it's all about. So tell us your once upon a time story. How did you get into this whole parenting and entrepreneur gig?
Oh, okay. So here's the landscape of what life looked like in 2015. I had, at that point, been co-owning and running a company with my husband. It's a local organization called the Tampa Bay Business Owners, and it's a chamber of commerce, if you will, but just for business owners. And so he was the leader, the visionary of that company, and I was the operator. So for many, many years, he started the company in 2008. In 2009, I jumped into it with him. So from 2009 to 2015, we were the work 100 hours a week, really getting that business off the ground. Like our business was our baby. And that was a giant part of our relationship together was having this singular vision of supporting entrepreneurs. And so and also at that point I was a fairly new podcaster. The year before I had launched my podcast, Biz Women Rock. And very quickly, it sort of launched itself into a stratosphere of like, okay, this brand is really known. I'm attracting all of these great women entrepreneurs. What am I kind of doing with it? And when I got pregnant in 2015, in early 2015, I was spending 90% of my time working the local business, and 10% of my time was dedicated to like figuring this thing out called Biz Women Rock. And there was, I had a bunch of different things that were sort of happening. I was kind of trying different group programs. I was trying a little bit of coaching here and there. I was trying an e-course about Facebook groups. And so when I became a parent, there were multiple things happening. I was simultaneously shifting out of the role of the local company. So I was trying to do the smart thing, like, plan my business for baby and let me hand off the reins to somebody. And so that way in my head, I could have this baby and get on to, living in my dream of business, which is Biz Women Rock. So that's where I was. And then when she was born in October of 2015, it was everything that a brand new kid is to brand new parents. It was not necessarily what I had envisioned. All of that beautiful planning that I had done, all of the thoughts of like, oh my gosh, I will totally be the rock star mompreneur who has this, runs this empire of this multi-million-dollar business from the corner of my house. I'm going to be doing that during nap times, of course. That's where I was when I became a mom.
I'm sorry, but I get it. I just, you're like the babies, the whole little comic strip, little character that we've seen everywhere about mompreneurs, baby on the hip, laptop on the hand, and you've just got everything under control,
of course,
which is nowhere near, anywhere near the reality, right?
So I am more than willing to take the laughter that comes at me when I explain that story because you just don't know what you don't know.
You don't.
And so that was how I entered the world. So the business existed first and very ridiculously passionate about this movement I was creating and what I was doing in this company and really finally being on my path to do that. And then the kid showed up and, wait a minute. How do I do all this? That's what it looked like.
Oh my gosh, I know. I remember taking phone calls, like ducking out my front door while my kid was watching TV so that, they didn't hear it in the background and all this kind of baloney. This was way in the beginning, like 2005, 2004, when I was first an online entrepreneur. And nowadays it's like, you know what? You hear the dog barking. That's just the way it works.
Yeah,
right? You hear, which I'm sorry, I'm going to warn you right now.
You might hear the dog.
UPS just pulled up. So... Is that perfect timing or what? Let's just hope the dog doesn't hear them and they don't ring the doorbell. All right. Well, if it does, you've been warned, power parents. This is real life. Okay. But no, it's true. We are, we could talk forever about that, just that one thing, because we have this not only in parenting and business, but just business itself too. The internet is this wonderful thing, has made this so, quote, easy. Or at least it looks easy.
Yeah, and, definitely in quotes, that word.
Yeah. And it's not, put up a course, just put up a course. You've got it. You've got this knowledge, just put up a course and people will buy it. Well, no, I'm sorry to tell you. Okay. But, even running a business, like we were talking about, the ease it looks like, everybody makes it look so easy. And I'm here to tell you, I've been kind of bringing some behind the scenes stuff here. And we talked early on about the fact that my husband was not that wonderful just such a wonderful, handsome, hair flowing kind of supportive man, that yes, my woman can do anything and just go and do it. That just wasn't his gig. First off, he's almost bald, so that kind of takes care of it. But anyway, yeah,
That whole
Fabio.
picture's just gone.
Fabio's got nothing on him. Yeah. So, but life does not happen that way. Not everybody has that ideal, and you can make a choice if it's not your ideal, right? And you obviously made a choice. You can either ditch it and, oh my gosh, this isn't ideal. It's too hard. It just must not work. Everybody's lying to me. Woe is me. Let's just stop. Or you can just double down and go, all right, I got to figure this crap out, right? I got to figure out what I'm going to do to this. So how did you do that? How did you build this amazing empire that's still here after a few years, especially of podcasting, which years on the internet are like decades in the real world.
Yeah, really?
Right?
I'm like considered a grandmother in
Hello?
podcasting.
Yeah, let's not even go there, all right? Because I'm way older than you, sweetheart. So. But anyway, so how did you do that?
Very conscientiously. You talked about being aware of that choice. And truthfully, I gave myself permission before I had my daughter to change my mind. Like even though I was preparing and I really thought that I could do the whole business and babies management, and that I also did give myself permission if after I had her, I felt this incredible desire to be the stay-at-home mom, that was okay. And I also gave my permission if the exact opposite were true. And I immediately wanted to go to work and I wanted to get care for her so that I could go to work. I gave myself permission that would be okay. What I found out it took me 2 months to realize that original dream was just not really my reality. Right. Which, by the way, I do know women who do that, who have multi-million-dollar businesses and do it during mornings and nap times. And that's awesome. Yeah. But I realized after 2 months that was not going to be me. And so what I did is I started searching for a daycare, which is hilarious because in the area that I live in, I remember people asking me, oh, when you're pregnant, you really need to start going around and looking for daycares and get on the list. And then here I was with a 2-month-old, like desperately, like, please let me in. And they were like, oh, that's a 2-year wait. So literally the universe stepped in and we ended up finding this daycare that is the most amazing thing in our lives. And they're just wonderful. It reminds me of like the town that I grew up in. It is very much a family there. It's small and it's beautiful and very affordable and just was awesome. And so I think it was January of the following year. So she was about 3 months old. She started going to daycare 2 days a week. And so I was like, okay, so during these 2 days a week, I can now work my business. Well, the interesting thing that happened about then is my husband, even though I had sort of like prepped the local team, like, okay, I'm done. And that was our agreement. So I could finally do my business. That happened to coincide with the time where he's like, I need you back in the business. Oh, boy. And it was incredibly disappointing to me because I just felt like, I have been supporting that for so long and I want my time and now it's time and I only have 2 days a week to do it. Right. But I decided to do it. And, so for another 6 months, that's pretty much what I did. It just continued where I supported that business with whatever time that I could and got a very minuscule time to really work on Biz Women Rock. And then she turned 9 months old and I felt like I was going crazy. And I was so frustrated. I was frustrated because I was trying my best in that minuscule amount of time to really push my mission forward. And I was not having the results that I wanted, meaning I wasn't, surprise, I wasn't able to run at 1,000 miles a minute, which is really what I want to do when I feel so super passionate about something and trying to figure out my business model, right? So I also knew that I had a really awesome potential in front of me. Like I had a podcast that at that point had been, this is mid 2016. So it was 2.5 years old. So I had listenership. I had a really great community listening to this podcast. I had started a Facebook group right after I started the podcast. I had thousands of women in there at that point who were really active with me and really loved it. And I had an email list. I was really active. So I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So I took myself away on a Katie retreat. And what that meant is that I went away to a beach for 2 days and I pretty much locked myself in the hotel room and I was like, I'm figuring this out. What am I doing? And what am I doing in my business? And what in the world am I doing with everything that I have right now? And where I started that has become the foundation of everything that I have built was what I call my mompreneur mission statement. And that was, what are my values? What is important for me to do in this world? And how can I make it all happen? And so what that showed me very clearly, so instead of going into theirs going, what is my business model and how can I best make money and how can I do that? Like I went in with like, what are my values and how can I make them all happen? So my values were, it's really important for me to spend quality time with my daughter at this stage of her life. And I want to do that. And it's also very important for me to have this mission of impacting millions of business women so that they can have really amazing businesses and grow and evolve during that process, right? And it's really important to me to have a really powerful and soulful relationship with my husband. And it's really important for me to be fit and to work out. Like all of these things came out on what my values really were. And that then translated into the second step that I took, which for me was I created a dream schedule. And I have learned, and this is probably one of my biggest tools that I have learned over the years, not only in my own experience, but in the experience of working with so many women entrepreneurs, that I really believe that your values show up on your calendar. So I was like, great, here are my values. What does that look like in real time? So I created a dream schedule, and what that looked like for me then, and it's worth noting that I did give myself permission to allow it to change as needed and evolve. What it looked like then was, okay, I'm going to work. I'm going to dedicate 3 days a week to my business, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So during those 3 days, Sedona's going to daycare. And then on Wednesdays and Fridays, and obviously on the weekends, I get to be mommy. And that's my expectation, is to be 100% mommy. And that dream schedule, and I should mention, like once a week, my husband and I had a date night in the calendar. And then, I got to put on my schedule, like when I was going to work out. So all of a sudden my values now translated onto what my actual schedule really looked like. That schedule has been the foundation of everything that I have built, because all of a sudden I started looking at it, and now I use that to transition into what I did for the rest of the Katie retreat, which was actually like create practical and intentional strategy with what I was about to build. So I said, I've got 30 hours a week. How am I going to build what I want to build? How am I going to live into this vision in 30 hours a week? Part of that was, number one, really owning the mindset that I could do it. And that's pretty giant, actually. Like, because there is so much talk out there about the fact that business and babies in our optimal form in either of those arenas cannot exist together. Yeah. Like they can't both be successful together. Right. And that's kind of like a normal conversation. And so I just made the choice that I'm not going to buy into that. And what I started doing is I started really connecting with and seeking out people who modeled what I wanted to have. People who were building, like they were in the throes of building amazing businesses, and they were in the throes of building brand new families. And I was like, who are they? I need to surround myself with them and see who they are and just be in that vibe. So that was a big thing. And I also just refused to believe like that I can't have it all. Like, I'm not saying that means that I get to put the gas full on at 1,000% in every area of my life, every single minute of the day. Right. But I just got myself in that mind space that what I value could actually happen and come to fruition. So that was pretty big. And then it just became about like creating intentional business strategy from there. And I can absolutely get into the more details of that. But that whole concept got me started on how am I managing my life and how am I giving my quality attention and purposeful time to all of these things that are very important to me.
Yes. And obviously I know why we've connected so much. That's just it. Because one of the first things, and I started my podcast the same time, January 2014 was when it launched.
Yeah, so, I think I was just a few weeks after you.
Yeah, and it was, and one of the first things I did was exactly that. And my kids were older, so this was in 14. I already had, oh my goodness, how old were they? Let's see, my youngest was 12, and my oldest, that meant he was coming up to 15. So when the podcast started, so I was past that whole baby part. I did all that with other businesses, but one of the first things I did was share what I called my Power Master Schedule.
Love it.
And it's exactly the same kind of thing. And especially with little ones, because we didn't go to daycare. We didn't do any daycare. So I did have to do my business during nap time.
Yeah.
But most of it was when they were asleep at night. So I just basically sacrificed sleep, right?
Yep.
I just did.
Which a lot of people do.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, it's all looking back, who knows if I'd do it differently. I really don't look that way because looking back is the me now. And the me then didn't have the knowledge that the me now has. So I can't go back and say I would do it differently because I would still be the me then and I would still have the same information. So I would probably make the same choice. But the schedule is exactly that. Put it on your schedule. Everything. If you're going to meditate, put it on there. If you're going to exercise, put it on there. If you're going to make dinner, put it on there. Because you're right. Everything you do, that's where your structure is. And I love how you're saying that's where your priorities are. That's where your mission is. That really shows up on your schedule, what's important to you. So, and another thing that you talk about was the fact that you took that big vision and then you went down into the details.
Yes.
So like you said, then you got into the details of, all right, what do I need to learn in my business and do in my business now that I have all those priorities set? So Power Parents, please listen to that and take notice of what she just said. She talked about the big vision and this is what's important to me and this is how I'm going to make it work. And this is how I can have it all. Not have it all at the same time, right?
Right.
But have it all at that moment.
Yep.
And focus at that moment. That's why we don't like the word balance around here because it really doesn't exist.
No, I do not either.
Right?
No, it does not.
No.
I do not like that word either.
I know. It's just a series of choices. What am I going to choose to do right now? And that's what creates your life. So Power Parents, that's what she did. She made the big picture. And then you go down and go, okay, once this is there and I have this amount of time carved out for my business, now what do I have to actually do on a daily basis to move it forward? And that gets on your calendar. If it's watching a webinar to learn how to do webinars or to learn how to set up a landing page or to whatever, then that's on your calendar that you're going to do it at that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then how did you grow from there? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no, that's exactly where I was going. So I actually what I did on this retreat is I created a tool for me that I have then turned around and used for so many clients. And I'm happy to share it here because it's totally free. I call it the decision-making matrix. So what I did is once I realized, okay, I've only have this amount of time. What can I do? And business, at the end of the day, like you need to make a profit. Like that is the number one goal of a business. Because if you don't make a profit, you can't do any of those other things. That you can't make that impact in that way. You can't affect that person's life over there. Like there's this real thing called you actually have to make a profit. So what I did is on this decision-making matrix, it's a spreadsheet. And in one column, I basically just listed out what are my offerings? How can people pay me for things that I do for them? What do I currently offer? And what are things that I've thought of before that I think could be really great? And then over the next few columns is sort of a grading scale. So I ask 4 questions of myself. Number 1, so the next column over, number 1 was what was it? Would I love doing this? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much would I love doing this? So 1, not so much. 10, oh my God, totally lights me up. The second column was, what is the quickness to market? For example, is this something like a course that I actually have to spend some time like figuring out, like creating it, figuring out the back end, doing all that sort of stuff? And that would get a lower number versus like, am I offering coaching where I literally could send out an email tomorrow and I could have a client, right? So that would be a 10. The third question was, what is the money potential for this? So something that might be like a $27 course or a downloadable, whatever that is, would get a lower number. And then something that was like, a $5,000 type of a program would get a 10, right? The last question was, does my community actually need this on a rate of, right? Very important question. On a scale of 1 to 10. So what I did is I rated all of those and then, gives like your final score on the very last column. And then you kind of Excel spreadsheet it out and like you factor it all out so that the one with the highest scores get to the top, right?
Right. That you do first. Yeah.
Yeah. So it became a really objective way for me to see where should I put my time and energy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's so powerful because even the like focus is my number one strength in the Strengths Finder. But even I can get like, I'm not going to call it shiny object, but like, oh my gosh, I should go do that thing over there, and I should go do that thing over there.
An idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And this tool that I still use this tool all the time. Every time I have kind of a new idea or where I want to take things next, it always clarifies like, where should I put my time right now? So what that did is I saw the top two things, and the top two things were coaching and strategy, like one-on-one private coaching and strategy, and a retreat. I didn't call it that back then. Like what it looked like was sort of like a workshop, because I was like, holy crap, I want to take people through this process. Like I am getting so much out of this process. I can take people through this. And my ladies have told me for years now that they would love a retreat, and I haven't done anything of it because I'm terrified. So, oh my gosh. So then what I did over the course, so that was, I think that was August of 2016. Over the course of the next 4 months, so between August and December, I basically marketed the hell out of those two things. And they didn't happen simultaneously. Like one came first and then the next one came after that. And I did it very strategically. I created a marketing plan for each of them that would be like super impactful, totally non-automated, by the way, but like I want to just try this and see how it works. So I'll give the case study. So for the coaching, what I decided to do was have launch a contest so somebody could win a free 90-minute strategy session with me, 90-minute coaching session. So over the course of and I put this everywhere, put it in the podcast, put it in the groups. Finally, I was using these platforms that I had. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so I put all this out there, and over the course of 2 weeks, I think I got about 30-ish people to apply. Oh, wow. And what I did is I created a video at the day that I was going to pick the winner. And talk about the mompreneurship thing, this powerful parenting thing. I totally used my kid in the marketing. Totally used my kid. She was about a year old at the time, and we were
perfect. Yes.
Yes. She was on vacation. Adorable, right?
Yes.
So I created a video where I had written everyone's name out. I tore it up so that it was on a piece of paper. Each one was on a piece of paper, put it in a bucket, recorded this video of my daughter picking out the winner.
Oh.
So cute. And then I used the heck out of my social media channels to announce the winner and tagged everyone who had applied, and blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
That's not the important part. The important part is that, okay, great. I contacted the winner to get her free session. Every single person who did not win, I sent a personal email to and said, I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to apply. As a consolation prize, I would love to give you 25 minutes of my time for any issue that you want to work on. So here's my schedule link. Let's do it. And out of the 30 people, I think I got about 14 or 15 people to schedule something with me. And my intention in each of those calls was, I genuinely want to give you value. So how can I help you?
Right.
At the end of those calls, what naturally happened was that they wanted more, or it was a really perfect opportunity for me to say, hey, we just talked about this thing. How would you like for me to help guide you as you go implement, and we can work together over the next 3 months? And 50% of them said yes. So within a matter of 4 weeks, I went from having 0 coaching clients and being totally confused about what I was doing to having 7 coaching clients, right? Pretty awesome. Yes. And that is intentional, focused strategy. So it's not spaghetti on the wall marketing, which is what I call.
No.
Right?
But not only that, can I just tell you real quick?
Absolutely.
Not only that was total value up front.
Totally.
With no expectation that they buy anything from you. Obviously, that was the goal. Obviously, we all need to stay in business, like you said. But you were talking 30 people. All right, Power Parents, how many times do you hear people on email? I've got 100,000 on my email list. I've got 50,000 here. I've got 1.6 thousand followers here. I don't care. Yeah. 30 engaged people any day over 115,000 Twitter followers.
Mary, and this is so pertinent to even me now. So like one of my biggest signature offerings right now are masterminds. And I provide masterminds for women who are sort of in the scaling phase, right? Like I've got a business model and it works and I want to scale purposefully. And then women who are what I call like the impact phase, like they built a business. It kind of pretty much either runs without them or not with too much of their fingers and everything. And now they're kind of doing something different or a different vertical or whatever that is. So one of my biggest marketing strategies right now in this moment, as I get ready to open up another season of these masterminds, is literally one-on-one phone calls with the most active members of my community for the first intention of keeping my thumb on the pulse of what's going on in my community, of the women that I get to serve.
Yes.
And I'm always asking the question, how can I support you? What do you need right now? And or they are in that conversation telling me stuff that they need. And that naturally lends itself to, hey, I have a mastermind opening up next month. Like, I actually think that this is exactly the solution for everything that you just said. And I can, like, those one-on-one, this is not dismissing email marketing. This is not dismissing the kind of the mass marketing by any means, but those one-on-one conversations are so ridiculously overlooked and amazingly successful in converting.
That's it. And that's, so even all this automation, I've got to tell you, so there's another gig I've got on the side with a very good friend of mine named Kelly Garrett. And it's called the Marketing Futurist. And we started it as a summit, a virtual summit late last year with all of these incredible people that we had been meeting in this whole bot world and this whole marketing world. And so we put together this summit with some, I still pinch myself that we actually got these people to get on a call with us, a video call with us. And that's turned into a membership, basically, where once a month we deliver the same kind of content, this amazing video of interview of these people, plus some trainings that Kelly and I put together to support the things that person talked about.
Love it.
But that is everything they talk about. This is remember the title, Marketing Futurist. So we're looking at future. So you would think, oh, it's going to be, we're going to have chips embedded under our skin, and then we're going to be able to go, oh no, I'm serious. I mean, Jamie Masters, that's exactly what she said she's looking forward to, a chip embedded in her head. I'm like, okay, woman, we got to talk. I'm like, that freaks me out. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, so I mean, all this stuff that's technology and it's automation and blah, blah, blah. But every single one of those people came back down to the fact that this is people we're talking about. These are human beings. We have to connect one-on-one. Scaling is wonderful, blah, blah, blah. But marketing and sales happen one-on-one. Mm-hmm. And it's true. Everything, my entire messenger funnels business, this whole bot thing, it has happened one-on-one. I don't have I have automated marketing processes, yes. But the sales process is me. It's me getting on the phone one-on-one, talking to people. Do you need this? And if they don't, I'm totally cool to point you someone. I just talked to someone today. No, you know what? You don't need me. You need my developer. So here's the phone number of my developer, and then she can go help you with this gig.
Right.
That's it. That's what it's about. And I give my time like that freely. I don't put a payment up and say, oh, no, you can't talk to me until you pay me $400. No, it's me. I mean, who the heck?
I mean, I consider it really awesome market research, like a continual market research. And, it's worth noting that, like, I will go in seasons where I do more of these one-on-one calls than
This
where I'm
doing
a lot
every single day. You're killing yourself just making phone calls. You'd never be able to meet with people in your actual coaching calls if you did that.
Exactly. Or, it would definitely limit my time. And remember, because I have 30 hours a week, so during these seasons, it's worth noting, because we are talking about these choices and this management of the family and the business. These seasons for me, and I'm in one right now, tend to be like, oh boy, okay, I'm breaking a lot of my my calendar rules, right? And that's okay with me for now. But it's like, okay, a lot more like I'm gone and out of the house for an 8 a.m. coffee meeting with somebody who happens to be her local. That means I don't get to see my daughter that morning, and that sucks. But you know what? Over these couple of weeks, that's okay, because the payoff is good and it's worthwhile right now. And I give myself a lot of grace during these seasons, because there are seasons where there are weeks where I just feel like hanging out with my kid more. And so I will just, she will stay with me one of those 3 days, and because why not? And, so it's just, it is a constant management of all of that.
Well, and especially on those days when she stays there, if there's not a season, if there's not a sales season happening, and you can call it a launch if you want or whatever, but if there's not one of those seasons happening, the only thing really you have, obviously we're continually pushing forward, but really the pressing matters that you have are not that pressing. They're just your calendar of coaching calls or taking care of that mastermind call. Yep. So you can, pull off the gas pedal a bit and let yourself consume and also produce what you've already sold.
Right, exactly. And I probably make this assumption, and I probably shouldn't make it, but one of my continual evolutionary goals for my business is to make it so that my time like right now I have responsibility to those mastermind groups that I run and I stack deliberately on Tuesdays. And I do have responsibility to the book of clients that I see generally on Thursdays. So, there is still a thing called, well, if kid gets sick, I actually still need to show up for those calls. So how do I manage that? Right. So, there is a desire in me to continue to evolve into a manner with which I'm not necessary in that process. And that doesn't mean that I would stop offering masterminds. It would just mean that I get to empower leaders in my community who are really amazing at facilitating masterminds, because I've seen them do it, and allowing that to be part of my scaling strategy, and allowing my larger message to the world get to be put out there in a way that's different from this particular business model right now. But it's a constant evolution.
Okay, I have to introduce you, and I don't know whether you were able to see this particular session at Social Media Marketing World, but I need to introduce you to Mr. Aaron Walker of
I do know Aaron.
Okay,
yes.
did you see his session where he talked about the Mastermind Blueprint? Okay, you have to check out the mastermindblueprint.com.
Got it.
Because that's exactly what he's talking about, is taking that mastermind and now raising up your community, the leaders in your community, the people who are naturally rising to that leadership level. And then now you can reach more people. Now you can have more masterminds because it's not just dependent on you.
Yeah.
So, and he has the entire framework worked out for that. So go see him. He's just, and not only that, even better, he's actually creating a done for you service for it.
I love it.
Like,
so he provides. Dude. Yeah, I love that. That's great.
I don't want to learn how to do it, but here you go, do it.
Yep.
So yeah, that's exactly. So that's how you can scale that model and take your Tuesdays and Thursdays and stay in your world, but yet multiply your impact and your revenue and, your groups and other people. And I love the whole analogy of all boats rise, right? In a rising tide. If we just keep doing that, we all rise together. And I have been privy to that. I've seen that in the last year, and now we're going on a year and a month since I've been doing this whole messenger thing. It has been incredible to do that. Yeah. So yeah, I hear you. And so that was going to be my next question. What happens when the baby gets sick?
Well, so we have, I have kind of a standard babysitter who comes in once a week for date night, sometimes twice a week, because I did at some point ask her, like, so would you be willing to kind of like clean up around here while you're here? And so, she, sometimes literally she comes because I'm like, I just need the house cleaned up, because that I don't feel like, let me spend my time somewhere else.
No,
right?
Yes, I'm right there with you.
Yes. So, so we have the standard babysitter, but she's not always available during the day. So I have like a bullpen of babysitters. And so, sometimes that has to be the option. Many times actually that is really the option. Or I do my husband and I play handoff and okay, what meetings do you have tomorrow? And can we work it out? And I have a client who is more than willing, I'm very lucky that I attract a lot of mompreneur clients, a lot of business
so they
owners.
Understand. Yeah.
Yeah, I literally just had a client cancel on me today, and she felt so bad, but her son was sick, and her kids are a little bit older, but she's like, I got to drive him. I was like, girl, let go of the guilt. I'm good. We'll reschedule. It's not that big of a deal. So I have lost a lot of the ego that comes along with, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be professional if I don't keep the standing appointment all the time, 100% of the time.
Yeah.
I give myself a lot of, now granted, I need to, I absolutely feel that responsibility.
Of course.
And I do not take that for granted, but I also give myself a lot of grace.
Thank you for saying that. Okay, Power Parents, there's another one. Nugget of gold right there. Grace. She's used that term several times in this conversation, right?
You can tell it's a very big thing in my life.
It is, yes. And it needs to be in all of our lives, because I'm here to tell you, the guilt does not go away. I don't care what guru you listen to that says, oh, no, I don't feel guilt. Everything happens for a reason and we just go through it. Bull honky. They're human. And human beings feel guilt. And when we think we have hurt someone or let someone down or anything like that, someone that we think has any kind of value in our lives or we have value in their lives, we feel bad. It's just life. It's just the way it is. Not that we did anything wrong. And obviously, if you did something wrong, go cop to it and, apologize and make it right. But if you didn't do anything wrong and it's just part of daily life, feel the guilt. Say someone, I'm so sorry. They're going to tell you, no big deal. Go do what you got to do. And then life goes on. Right?
Yeah.
And we're done.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Wow. All right. So, Power Parents, you gotta be able to rewind this and go back to that whole monologue that Katie just gave you about being able to structure your business and using that matrix that she talked about. And I'm sure she'll, if she doesn't give us the link here, we'll have it in the show notes to be able to go look at that matrix, because that's the one thing I had missed and I did not have. But when you have that, it just makes it gets you there faster. It gets you to your product offering faster. And hey, the faster you can get there to make money, how could that be bad?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Okay. So how old is she now?
Sedona is 2. She'll be 2.5 years soon. So
my
she's
goodness.
she's in that testing the boundaries phase.
Oh boy. Just be thankful. She's not 16 yet.
She's adorable, but she's got this really horrible and awesome combination of qualities. She's got my total free spirit, like I will, like, don't tell me what to do, like total independence, and my husband's like troublemaker spirit. And those combined right now are just
not pretty. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's gonna make her an amazing adult. Let's just not be.
Yeah. And really, to be honest, that your most difficult but most important mission will be to not squash either of those two things. Right?
Exactly.
That's it.
To like really give her the wings to
let her, to help her understand, you still do have to have boundaries. These are vital parts of life. Your free spirit can go in certain times, but there are times when the boundaries have to be there. And the whole troublemaker thing, getting into things, that's what's going to be that's what's going to push her forward in life. That's what's going to help her develop this amazing human society into whatever its potential has, because those are the people that push those things and say, no, you tell me I can't do this, I'm doing it. Right. And, those are the apples of the world, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that's the toughest part, because you still have to, we parents, we get into this whole, we get our house and we get our mortgage and we get our business and we have all these bills and so we get into that focus of responsibility, and many of us lose that parenting role that is also the nurturing and the giving wings, and letting them develop their own wings, because we're so stuck in the responsibility stuff. And that's totally normal. I was there for a long time. And now that I'm in the exit strategy, I'm looking back and seeing the different places where I actually did help them develop wings, and it's coming to fruition, and it is so flippin' amazing.
I love that. Yeah.
What you're doing now, believe me, it will pay you. It will pay you and her. Just the dividends are going to be incredible to watch. So go for it. Keep doing it.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned that about, just not getting stuck in we have all these responsibilities. I actually think that that's what the structure that I've created, and I'm not saying that it needs to be perfect for everyone or work this way for everyone, but the structure that I've created for like be mommy on Wednesdays and Fridays of the work week, and that's my only job. Look, I ain't gonna lie. I absolutely sneak in some conference calls during nap time.
Thank you for being human.
Of course. My goodness. I do a lot, right? Like absolutely. I work a lot during, nap times and in the mornings. But I have very low expectations for work stuff on that day. And it's also like, I also do feel pulled because I just, as you hopefully can feel on the other side of the earbuds that you're listening with, I love what I do. This is a mission for me. It is a movement for me. It is part of why I'm here in this world. So it is a challenge for me to, on those mommy days, to not be in it. And however, that forced structure forces me to be super present with my daughter. And so, like yesterday we had a play date, and then we got with another friend and her kids, and like we just got to hang out and like watch a movie in the afternoon. And it forced me not to have anything else on my mind other than I want to be in tune with this kid and like just experience her. And it's so cool because when I allow myself to do that and I create the expectation that that's all I'm there to do, then it allows me to be really plugged into who she is and how I can sort of intuitively parent. I don't even know if that's a thing.
Totally, yes.
But like, what is okay for her and what is not? What am I like? This actually keeps me from going and reading expert advice on what I should be doing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I actually do very little of that. I actually can't remember the last time I read anything about how to parent, because I'm just in tune with her, and so I'm paying attention to what it is she needs, and I'm flipping guessing a lot of the times, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So, but I think it's such a special thing, a gift to give yourself as a parent, is the to letting go of being the responsible adult and actually just being a parent and like having fun, you know, like we all joke about the management of all this and how we're actually doing it. And it's really cool to forget about all that stuff for a minute and recognize that parenting is actually like, I get to be a kid. Like I get to like be a kid with my kid. And this is kind of cool. Right.
Yes.
And so I have this freedom and this, it's okay to goof around and to roll around goofing on the floor and to have no agenda and to be quote unquote incredibly unproductive. Like, who cares? You get to be there with your kid. Like, how awesome is that?
Yes. Okay. And I'm going to give you one piece of advice, all the power parents out there. Just make sure that if you go down the slide with your kid on your lap, to take your phone out of your back pocket, because the static electricity will wipe it out.
No
just
way.
saying. Yeah, totally. Take it out of your back pocket. Don't. This was back when I had a BlackBerry. All right, because of course my kids are little, right? My kids are older, so I went down the slide, had my BlackBerry in my back pocket, and it was wiped clean, absolutely clean. God. Static electricity just fried it.
That's hilarious.
Just don't do it in your back pocket. Okay, leave it out somewhere else. So, but yeah, isn't that fun? I mean, we can get in the sandbox. We can, that and isn't it amazing that you? And I will say one other thing, that will help you when you get to the school age, when you actually start with school, because, and I don't care how many emails I get or messages I get of people telling me, no, this public school system's perfect or the public school system sucks. I don't care about that. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about that nothing is perfect for everyone. Right. This podcast is not perfect for every parent. They don't relate to me specifically. Biz Women Rocks is not perfect for every woman. They don't relate to Katie completely. Not everyone in the world. You go find the thing that you do relate to and go. More power to you. That's fantastic. But the same with school. It's not, the structure, the way it's set, is not perfect for everyone. So if you're in tune with your kid and you are actually paying attention and you know her and you know how she learns and how she adapts and how she relates to the world, you can make those choices, because we have so many more choices now than ever before. And they are amazing choices. So use that knowledge of your kid to because the school age time is really the most formative after yours, after the time that they're home with you. They will have experiences that you won't be there to protect them through. And so those are the parts that your intuition will really do you some justice. It'll be amazing. Wow. Okay. So like I say, we could talk forever.
I love these conversations.
I know. So there are people out there and they're just hyped up with what we're talking about, because obviously they can feel that excitement. They can feel that passion. They can feel that mission from you. And they're sitting there going, yes, I know it. I'm ready. And then they're all of a sudden that pit in their stomach just starts getting bigger. And they're like, oh, but wait, what about, I don't know. And all those fears come up. And so they're still kind of rocking back and forth on that fence going, I don't know. And it doesn't mean they're rocking back and forth thinking to even start, because many of them already have. But also they might be rocking back and forth going, okay, so how do I implement this matrix? And what about, so I don't have any money to even hire that 2 days of daycare. I'm in that where I got to pay my mortgage and my car just broke down and blah, blah. So whatever, all the debts that we all have and the responsibilities, they're still rocking back and forth going, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can go to that next step. That person, besides getting splinters in their butt by rocking back and forth on the fence, but that person, what advice would you give them?
Probably two sides of the same coin. One side being, I really do believe in asking yourself what your values are and what you want to believe is possible, and taking the next step to actually create some sort of way that you can make those values show up on the calendar. And I got it. No matter what your schedule is, there is a way that you can adjust and eke a little bit more time, another half an hour here, another, 15 minutes here, whatever that is. So I would challenge you to go take a look at, really get clear on your values and take a look at how you might do minor adjustments to your calendar to help more of those things show up in your life. And then the other part of it is I think all great parents really give this advice, which is, you know, you do you, like just whatever is best for you. There's no such thing as the perfect parent who does it beautifully and perfect and it works out wonderfully all the time. Like, there's just, again, this idea of grace, like just do what you can do and do the next best thing that you can. And if you're at a point where you're working crazy hours and you just like you've got that financial responsibility that where you have to, like, just go back to the calendar and ask yourself, like, okay, cool. Like what do I really want? Okay, get clear on that values. Like, what does the ideal life really look like for you? And how can I take just one step towards it? Just one step. That's it. And you will be amazed at how quickly things can really shift just one baby step at a time. So that's all. And tons of grace for the journey, because, none of us are where we really ideally want to be. And so, so many times people focus on that gap. Like, I'm not where I am. Here's where I am. Here's where I want to be. And there's this giant gap here. And I'll speak for me. And if you want to identify with this, you can. Like, I get really judgmental over myself on that gap. And I feel like there's something's wrong with me. I'm not good enough. That what's wrong that I have this gap? Mm-hmm. And woe is me. I can't fill this gap, right? I can't close this gap. And the truth of the matter is that there's always a gap. And so the more grace that you can give yourself and just trust that you'll show up, and there are seasons, and, there is a season called you got a brand new baby and you can't afford daycare, or like it just doesn't work for you to create something that you think would be ideal. Like, okay, well, what's a little mini thing that you could do just to get yourself towards that, and then let go of the judgment of that gap.
Thank you. Thank you. And one of the things that we say around here, Power Parents, that should be familiar to you, because we always talk about the fact that we don't give birth to gazelles that jump up and start running immediately. So if you wouldn't expect your baby to bridge that gap immediately, why do you expect yourself? It's the same concept. Your baby has to take baby steps. That's why it's called baby steps. Your business has to take baby steps, and it just has to. So let it do it. But if you stop yourself from taking any steps because you're still in that judgment of why you aren't where you think you should be, then you're never going to make any progress. So yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Katie, this has been such an incredible conversation. And I really do have a feeling that we're going to have to do another one very soon.
I know.
Besides the fact that I'll get to come on your podcast. I cannot wait for that.
I'm
I
so
really
excited
can't
about
wait.
that.
That's going to be fun.
My Mompreneur series is coming around the corner, and you, my dear, are going to shed some awesome light into that.
Oh, it's going to be so fun. And we get to chat again. So we're just going to have to obviously stay connected and keep this train rolling and keep spreading this amazing grace, definitely, and power, definitely, to people who really do have such amazing potential to give this world, that we would all, all of our lights would be quite a bit dimmer if they didn't do it. So we need to help people shine. And I know that the two of us and many, many other people in our community, millions of women and men, are going to do the same thing. So thank you so much for sharing this time with us.
Mary, thank you so much. It was such an honor to be here.
To get powered up for your day, just go to parentepower.com and listen to the over 200 episodes we have so far with amazing entrepreneurs just like you. It might just help you feel like a grown-up again.